Hey, how's it going? Reece here. I wanted to record a quick video and talk about sliding scales in life and the fact that nothing is black and white and nothing is right or wrong and nothing is yes or no, and for everything there is a sliding scale of yes or no or right or wrong or black or white, and nothing is 100% ever for certain. And the reason that I wanted to record this is because I feel like so many people, there's this thing that people talk about, how the grass is greener on the other side, but the grass is actually greener where you water it. And I feel like that backs up what I'm saying here, because it's like so many people want to think that when they achieve this thing, everything's going to be perfect. But what people forget to realize, or maybe they don't recognize or even know about, is the fact that with every good thing comes a cost. We purchase everything, and I don't mean that in a monetary sense of the word. I mean that in a case that for every good thing that we want, there is always a cost for it. For every pro, there is always a con. For every advantage, there's always a disadvantage. And you must realize that for everything that you want, there's always going to be a cost associated, whether that's a monetary cost, a financial cost, a time cost, an emotional cost. It could be so many different things. Like, you get loads of people that have really massive successful businesses talking about how they feel stressed, but of course with time they've just come accustomed to it, so they're okay with it. But that's what I mean with like an emotional expense, is the fact that you have to now deal with these new emotions these emotions that a lot of people perceive to be negative on a daily basis. And I say perceived to be negative because, again, nothing is truly positive or negative. There's always a sliding scale, and it's always down to our perception. And if you're able to truly internalize and understand what I'm saying here, you will realize that everything that you want, there's going to be a cost associated to it. And that shouldn't talk you out of it. It should excite you, but it's also just keep you aware that life is about this constant change, this constant progression. And a lot of people think that when they're going to get to this place, then everything's going to be perfect. And I want to tell you that it will be pretty great, but it's only going to be perfect if you perceive your situation to be perfect. If you say to yourself, I've got this massive business now and I'm really, really stressed about it, and you say that as a negative thing, then you're not going to feel happy about the fact that you've built this business. So, when you're like 16, 18, 20, however old you are, at a young age where you haven't started that yet, and then, fast forward 3 to 5 years when you've actually grown a decent business, it's like at that point, you're going to look back and say, wow, I really wanted to be here, but now I'm here, and there are costs associated. There are negatives about it. And I'm not making this video from a negative point of view. I'm trying to make it from an inspiring, positive point of view of teaching you that you pick your own issues in life. You pick your own costs. And you must understand that if you do something, and because of doing that thing, there's a cost associated to it, I don't want you to be surprised about it. I want you to expect it and be excited about this new challenge, this new experience in life. I've realized recently that if you teach yourself to just want new experiences, then you're going to have a lot less disappointment, because you're just going to do what you want, which is to experience. Now, you're still going to be upset at times. You're still going to be emotional. Emotions are very, very complicated. And I couldn't say that you will always be happy as long as you just want experiences, because that's a bit silly. But if you opened your mind to the fact that with everything in life, there is a sliding scale, and for everything in life that I want, there's going to be some type of cost associated to that, and you're aware of it, and then you accept it, and you expect it, you expect and accept it, then you want it to happen, and you'll be happy when it does happen. And again, I'm bringing this video from a perspective of positivity, and really trying to push the fact to you that if you're looking at the future saying, hey, everything's going to be perfect there, you don't want to do that. But at the same time, you don't want to look at the future and say, oh, I'm going to have so many problems, because that's going to hold you back from doing it. And I think actually this is where the video has come from. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and he said the main thing that's holding him back from growing his agency is the fact that he's thinking about problems that haven't even arisen, that haven't even come up yet, things that may or may not happen in the future. It's an imagined thought of what the future could look like, and he's creating the perception that that's going to be negative, and that there's going to be issues and there's going to be challenges. Whereas if you look from this in a different perspective and you look at it as an encouraging perspective, and you say, hey, in the future, I'm just going to follow this journey and see what happens. I've got a plan. It may or may not happen in the timeline that I want it to happen. But if it doesn't, at least I'm going to have these new experiences. I'm going to experience new things from life, and that's always going to help me. And if you are fully aware of that, then it's always going to be positive for you. So, and again, let me just dive on that deeper. I say it's always going to be positive for you. That comes down to your perception. Because if you are expecting everything to always be happy, then that's not the case. You're still going to have your sad days. Again, emotions are very, very difficult, and you can't control them just through the perception. You can influence your feelings and your emotions, and ultimately you are in control of your feelings and your emotions. You can choose whether or not to accept a state of yourself being in. But you've got to realize that no matter how positive you are, no matter how good your perception is or your perspective of your situation, there's always going to be something that's not that great. And that's what I'm calling a cost here in this situation. Because if you look at it as a cost of something, then I feel like that takes the negative frame away from it. It makes you understand that, hey, I've got this problem, this pain, this cost, whatever it is. Again, we're sticking with the word cost. I've got this cost because I've got this thing that I really, really want. And of course, you can work then to minimize the costs, but just don't expect to get things that you want without a cost associated. Just like when you go to the supermarket and you buy some juice, this is what I wanted. There's a cost associated, not just the fact that I had to pay for it, but the fact that I had to go there and buy it, take my time to go there and buy it, and then I had to carry it back home with me. Not very heavy, but there's a cost associated there. There are many costs associated to doing the things that you want to do. Coming to Cape Town, there's costs associated to that, not just financial, not just time. There are other costs associated. There are emotional costs associated. There's energy costs associated from the traveling, from the emotion where it's like finding yourself in a new city and trying to figure yourself out, and figure yourself out in the city, and where the supermarkets are, where you can, where the best restaurants are, and of course that comes with so much beauty and so much positivity, but there could also be perceived negativity in that situation. So that's pretty much it. I'm just recycling my thoughts now and just framing them in different ways to you. But I really want you to acknowledge the two separate points, which is one, there's always going to be a sliding scale for everything. Nothing's going to be 100% positive. Nothing's going to be 100% negative. If you open yourself to just having experiences in life, I personally feel like that's going to be a lot better. But again, it doesn't mean that everything's going to be perfect. I don't believe in this perfection. It's an imagination. And the only way that you can get as close to that as possible is by having the perspective that whatever happens, I will be okay, and whatever situation I find myself in, I can deal with. I can handle that, and I can find myself out of it, or I can blend into it if I would like to. And that's pretty much it. That's the concept that I wanted to share in this video. It was a really impromptu video that I just thought, hey, I'm going to shoot this and just get this out there really quickly. But acknowledge that there's a sliding scale, and acknowledge that there's always a cost associated with things. And I'm saying things because these are negative and positive and neutral things altogether, like just things, experiences. That's the best way to sum it up. It's just, life is just about having a bunch of experiences. And if you can just focus on just having experiences, whether they're going to be perceived negative, perceived positive, or neutral, doesn't really matter. You're just having experiences. That's the way that I see it. So I just kind of wanted to share that thought process with you, and kind of get that out, because I feel like, again, it's not going to make everything perfect. It's not going to make everything super positive, but I do feel like it gives a slightly better perspective on life than what most people have. Most people are seeing I worked so hard for this, and then now I've got these problems associated, or I worked so hard for this, and then now I lost friends and all of this and whatever else. It's just a bit crazy. Not crazy as in you're crazy for it, but it's just, I don't feel like that's the right perspective to have on life. I feel like the best perspective to have on life is that you're just here to experience. And if you can look at this human experience as a way of just experiencing thoughts, emotions, feelings, experiences in themselves, and whatever else you can think of, things become a lot clearer, and I feel like a lot more positive, perceived positive. But I hope the idea is drilling home. So that's pretty much it. I don't have anything else to say, but I'd love to hear your comments on what I'm sharing here. Like, what do you think about what I'm saying? Do I sound a bit crazy right now? Do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you think it all makes sense? And if you have any questions about it, if there's anything I can dive deeper on, just put it in the comment section down below. And that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to make videos like this every so often. I mean, again, it was very impromptu and just I thought, hey, let me just shoot this up. So, yeah, leave your comments down below and subscribe. Make sure that you are seeing these videos when they come out, if you like what I'm saying. That's it. Take care, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.